Most Christian men don't need more aggression. They need a reason to fight that's bigger than themselves. So, Bill, what do you do with this idea? Christian men, we don't need to be more aggressive, but we do need a reason to fight that's bigger than ourselves.
Well, we got to process. We got to stop, take a moment. Where's the unhealthy aggression, unhealthy fierceness is the word I like to use. Where's that coming from, right? So I think there's a couple of first, second, third, and fourth steps that we can take a look at.
Okay. Walk us through a couple of them.
Yeah. First one, get honest. I mean, do some introspection about where is this aggression
Go back and listen to the previous couple episodes. It'll help you on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We connected these intentionally, these episodes, and
Yeah.
I'll create a playlist for all three. So for those who are interested to watch it all in a row, they're short. But most men can't name that source
Yeah.
because they've forgotten. They never sat still long enough to figure out.
Or they just buried it so many years ago that they're going to need some help,
Well, as men, we're objective orientated, so
Yeah.
we're just on to the next objective we got to accomplish. And we don't sit and stop and think about
Yeah.
where is this all coming from? And I think that's where we start with prayers like, Lord, where is this coming from? What am I actually angry about? Please reveal that
Yes.
to me through the Spirit.
Yeah. What is underneath this? So that's the first one, right?
That's
Really get honest about where the aggression comes from. Ask the Lord for that help. Ask a brother in Christ for that help, to do some digging.
Yeah, and have an accountability partner along the way. That
For sure.
I think taking every thought captive to the obedience of Jesus is in first and foremost sharing our words with someone else that's trustworthy, that won't take them the wrong way and help us be a sounding board.
Yeah, I mean you got to have that guy, as we said a number of episodes ago, to watch your six, as they say.
Yeah.
Watch your back. And I think building on that first step of getting honest about where our aggression comes from. Your second one that you wanted to talk about was reframing aggression as fierceness with a mission.
Yeah.
So if we're going to take, hey, I've had this aggression and I've found the reason for it, I'm dealing with the reason, but you can actually reframe sometimes.
Give it a focus. If your aggression is just kind of random and hitting everybody around you, then that might be the unhealthy kind of aggression you got there.
Yeah.
But if you're using it as a purpose to serve the Lord, a righteous fierceness,
Right.
then that gives it a sense of clarity, riverbanks to kind of operate with that.
So fierceness, it's not the absence of force, it's just simply the force aimed in the right direction?
In the right direction for the right reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as you would say too, a shepherd doesn't use the rod on the sheep.
No, right. In the last episode, we talk about Jesus being the great shepherd, not the great cowboy.
So the shepherd would use the rod to protect the sheep against the wolf or the
Correct.
whatever.
Correct.
So your fierceness for us as Christian men isn't this domination over my household, my wife, my children, or whatever that might look like, but really it's how do I defend it?
Leaning into the God-given reason and purpose of our role as men.
And I think too, culture has made this really difficult for men because they're kind of teaching and preaching that, you being aggressive or you being, physical by nature is a bad thing. And you need to, it's like, no, it just needs the correct channel.
Yeah.
And really a focus point, as you would say.
Yeah. Speaking of culture, have you noticed in our society, and speaking of Hollywood specifically, there's been a stint of action movies where a woman is taking the lead who's super violent and former assassin or spy or whatever out for revenge or protect a person or child or
saying that they can be strong too.
Exactly. Well, and
that's their message. But what I find funny about it is you're doing the exact same things you would say that
men shouldn't do. Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good call out.
Yeah.
So first, again, get honest about where this aggression comes from. As Christian men, we got to be able to reframe aggression as fierceness, kind of point that with a mission, channel it.
Yep.
And then the third is maybe even replace the word. Stop calling it aggression. Start calling it responsibility.
Exactly.
Maybe that's a key that would help a lot of men understand. Your sense of aggressiveness. Maybe we need to say, hey, look, let's call this a responsibility. If we've been able to take it and focus it and channel it correctly,
that gives it the riverbanks to operate within when it's a responsibility. Absolutely, it's the man protecting his family isn't being aggressive for the wrong reasons. He's being fierce.
And responsible.
For the right reasons.
Right.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Replacing the word, because I wouldn't have thought of that one until you brought it up.
Yeah.
Like maybe we don't call it aggression. We just say
And that's part of taking every thought captive is when we give it a different label, becomes, and it's the right label, it gets a new identity,
Yeah.
right? And that helps us channel the actions of what we should be doing and why we should be doing
And
it.
it brings us back to, biblically to this idea of, are you just angry because the anger of man doesn't produce the righteousness of God? Or are you angry about the correct things, the things that God is also angry about and displeased with? And are you using your masculinity as a biblical Christian man to fight against those things?
Yeah.
And that I think, when I see men serving on, in the church, that excites me because we need strong men who will use their strength to serve and to protect the church. I also love it when I see them serving on the board of directors for the pregnancy resource centers or their local school boards or whatever. It's we need good, manly, godly leadership. We need these men to have a source of where to put this masculinity that God has given them, this strength that God has given them,
Absolutely.
this fierceness that God has put in the heart and in the mind of a man that needs a good biblical focus.
And I think we excel at it when we do it shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, for sure.
Iron sharpens iron, right? So if we're out there alone doing it, it becomes much more of a challenge. Yeah. But if we're doing it as a team, as men.
And I'll put it this way. Think about reading the story of Joshua and Caleb through today's lens. They go over and they see all the giants and they see all this, through they're seeing the same exact thing that the other 10 spies were seeing. This is when Moses sent the 12 spies in to the promised land. And the 10 spies come back and they're like, we can't do this. There is way too many obstacles. These men are huge. Joshua and Caleb were complete opposite spirits.
Yes.
And they said, let's go over there and take what is rightfully ours. God is with us. We don't have to be afraid of anything. We can go over there. They weren't talking about going over there and asking them to leave. No. They were talking about going over there and slaying them.
Correct.
Killing all of them, right? Don't leave anybody. Chase them all out of there.
It's
whatever.
Ours. Yeah.
They're talking about war. So I find it interesting, if you read it in today's language, what it would look like through the lens of culture. Let's go over and we'll all sit down and talk about our feelings, and maybe we'll ask the Canaanites if they would mind giving us the land that our God has promised us. We'll just have a conversation. There's no need for war. There's no need for aggression. There's no need for this toxic masculinity. We'll just go over and ask if we can share these things. When God's call was get over there and destroy them and push them out.
Yep.
That would be a good focus of godly masculinity. But what I love about it is when they heard the report, the Israelites heard the report from the 10, and all the fear broke out in the camp. My picture of Caleb and Joshua having to wait for 40 years and walk and be in the desert, they were the only two original, from that generation that actually got to see the promised land. They led the people in. What were they doing for 40 years? I imagine they're just sharpening their swords, man, can we just go in now? We have to really wait 40 years? What were they doing? Yeah.
Probably a little frustration of, man, we could have, if you just had the right attitude, we could have gone.
But we see Joshua, we get snippets of him in the tent with Moses or shadowing. He was still growing and learning and channeling his masculinity.
He was being equipped to take over.
He was being equipped to take over.
Yep.
So again, it's this whole idea of what's the focus of my masculinity? Is it in line with what God has told me to do?
Yeah.
In today's culture would have said, it's a good thing they didn't go in there because it would have resulted in war and a lot of people dying. It's this was God's directive. This is exactly what the heart of Joshua and Caleb was to do exactly what God called them to do.
Yeah.
That's called biblical
a righteous God dealing with unrighteous people with his own selected
right. But that would have been aggression or anger focused in the right direction.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But, again, we're talking about this whole idea for Christian men to be able to identify unhealthy aggression versus biblical masculinity.
Yeah, so we got get honest about where it comes from, reframe it, reword it, give it a mission, and then kind of replace the word, stop calling it aggression.
Yep.
Call it responsibility. That'll help give it riverbanks. Then finally, and most importantly, we save the best for last, is the spiritual transformation, working, allowing the Holy Spirit to work through our lives in dealing with forgiveness. And maybe that's forgiveness we need to receive. Maybe that's forgiveness we need to offer and have a conversation. And maybe that's someone who's already passed away. That how do we have that conversation that we still have to offer and extend that forgiveness?
You gotta let go.
And let the blood of Christ just wash over it and let it go. Because hanging on to that forgiveness is just
It's gonna fester.
It's just gonna damage me. It doesn't damage the other person.
And it's gonna be one of those unchecked areas
Yeah. And as you
about where your
said,
aggression comes from.
broken expectation, and that leads to more anger. So
Absolutely.
spiritual transformation is just so key in surrendering to the aspect of forgiveness, just like God did to us.
Absolutely. Well, if this has hit home, share it with a man who needs to hear it, probably yourself. I know I'll be doing that one. And if you can, like, share, subscribe, that would be wonderful. We're building men who lead from the inside out. We're going from good men to godly men. That's what our channel is about. Again, so if this has helped you, if it hit home, definitely share it and help us in this mission to go from good men to godly men. And we'll see you in the next one.